I believe we're live. Yes, we're live.
Okay, so the audio's good?
Let me take one look. Yes, we're good to go.
Wonderful. Good evening. I bring greetings from the Greenburgh Central School District Board of Education. The Board of Education is comprised of 7 volunteers who are here tonight. So I'm going to introduce them. First, we have Christine Ballin, who's the current vice president. Please stand.
Sorry.
Where am I going?
I can.
Here.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I am Tracy Mayer, your current Board of Education president. The board sets policies for the district and is the link between the district and our community. Our public school community encompasses both the unincorporated areas of Fairview and Hartsdale, and the 7 of us lead with unity and a unified purpose for the mission of educating all of the children. Another thing we do is we hire and we evaluate the superintendent. Last year, the district Board of Education embarked on a very detailed process to find Dr. Lorinda Chisholm. She is a strong advocate for public education who's worked in all levels of districts, and she believes in community engagement. Our board completes its work through a structure of individual committees. Our committees are the Audit Committee, the Education Committee, the Governance and Policy Committee, the Safety Committee, the Technology Committee, the Finance Committee, the Facilities Committee, the Wellness Committee, and the Community Engagement. I encourage all of you to try to join one or more of our committees. Many of our committees have our meetings televised, and many of them are archived on our YouTube. So please tune in so you can find out the most up-to-date things that are happening in our school district. The committees are where we discuss our policies that are related to a particular topic, and we hear directly from our administrators about the work that is being done in the schools within that particular topic. Tonight, our Community Engagement and Communications Committee presents Dr. Chisholm as she addresses the state of our schools. Now, I'd like to call up Mr. David Warner. He is the chair of the Community Engagement Committee, and he's going to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Chisholm.
Dr. Chisholm grew up in Buffalo. She was a scholar athlete, track star in high school. She has been a law enforcement officer, a school counselor, a college professor, a principal, a curriculum leader, and an assistant superintendent. She's worked in the Buffalo and Schenectady school districts that are much larger than ours, where administrators fulfilled highly specialized roles. She did her doctoral thesis on a social justice school on an island in Belize in Central America, which emphasized experiential learning, and limited resources meant that a few leaders did everything, and you had to be a jack of all trades. Her common themes include instructional leader support and accountability, experiential learning, a global perspective on education, and the importance of social and emotional learning. Greenburgh CSD is a celebration of diversity, character education, academics, and experiential learning, the International Baccalaureate Program, and WISE. We pulled ourselves out of the post-COVID doldrums by aggressively implementing social and emotional learning. You can draw a dotted line between each of these concepts and Dr. Chisholm's experiences and past roles. She's been here a little over 120 days. Let's see what she thinks of us and how we can do a better job of being ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, our superintendent of schools, Dr. Lorinda Chisholm.
Good evening, Happy New Year, and welcome everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. Thank you, President Mayers and Trustee Warner for the introduction. I'd also like to acknowledge a few people that are in the audience this evening. The first being New York State Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins. We also have the President of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Westchester London Chapter, Ms. Tiffany Hamilton. I also want to acknowledge members of our team, right? So we have our GTF President, Mr. James L. Bell. Our GAO, which is our Administrators Union President, Mr. Will Washington here with us. Now, the Principal Simone is in the audience, so thank you.
1 second, sorry. Give me 1 second. Let me share the screen. You're good to go.
Thank you. So tonight's theme is really around our mid-year momentum. What has happened, what has transpired in my first 120 days here in Greenburgh Central School District? And so basically what I wanted to do this evening was kind of check in with the community, share where we are at this point in time, based on the feedback from the walk and talks, the meet and greets that took place over the summer, and basically based on my listening, learning, and leading experience in the first few months. So this is really around an honest check-in on our journey towards our district goals. One of the things we always want to start with and center ourselves and our work around is our vision, mission, our motto, and now our tagline. So our vision is to be a high-performing school district that educates all students, to interact intellectually, socially, and emotionally as global citizens. Mission being the goal of the district is to provide a model learning center where students will grow from one stage to another and to develop those skills and talents, which permits the individual to succeed in the pursuit of his or her goals and ambitions in ever-changing society. Our motto is our children, our focus, our future, and our tagline for 2025, 26 and moving forward is soaring together for a greater Greenburgh. And this is really grounded in the 4 pillars that we have established this year as part of our shared vision of SOAR, which is student success, operational excellence, attracting and retaining top talent, as well as responsive relationships. So how this aligns to our district goals. Our first district goal is around student success. Goal 2 is around infrastructure, a premier workforce, safe and healthy climate and culture, and communications. And so basically, the SOAR pillar is crosswalk, and this is how the model looks as it relates to our strategic goals. So this year, our school really is working to reinforce our vision, affirm our shared purpose, all those things collectively towards a shared goal of student achievement. So I had to present my first 100 days to the Board of Education as part of my interview process. And what I did was I identified some of those areas that we really need to take a look into. And the first being developing those key relationships. Those things were carried out through the listening sessions that took place this summer, through individual meetings with our union representatives, with building leaders, with departmental leaders, and with the Board of Education. Doing an organizational review, looking at our policies and what procedures are in place to support those policies. Looking at processes that are taking place or not taking place across the district, and then where do we fill the gap? Looking at more efficient resources and systems, digital access and technology across the district, and then public relations and communications. And that was really something that came out from those listening sessions around communication. Again, all a part of my listening, learning, and leading. So some of the first highlights of the first 120 days. A lot has happened in 120 days. And keeping in mind, when you're serving multiple constituents, you're also dealing with competing priorities. And so how do we take those priorities and triage, pretty much, and thinking about the order in which those things would be supported, taken place, or addressed. And so really in my first 120 days, we created that district-wide shared purpose and vision through the 4 pillars of SOAR. I do want to thank the communications team, Ms. Jackie Burton and Mr. Miguel Barrios for really helping me to take the idea and bringing it to life and visualizing it for our school. I hosted 7 summer listening sessions, including at local churches, building relationships with some of the clergy in the area as well as the community centers. We filled key district positions and reinstituted a human resources department. Some of those key positions you'll hear about being the director of special education and personnel. We had to replace that, and moving the individual who was interim and the technology department and making them a probationary person. So we were trying to fill a lot of people that needed to, that were priorities here in the district. We closed out several facilities projects, which you'll hear about, but we have a lot more to do. And so thinking about where those projects land on this timeline or continuum of the capital projects and improvements around this campus. We've met with various community members. We focused our superintendent conference days on a lot more collaboration. When I tell you the feedback from teachers and administrators were very powerful and very positive in terms of having time to work collegially with their colleagues to create curriculum, look at assessments, those type of things. So really focusing our superintendent conference days on professional learning and growth for all, not just teachers, but even security and other staff members. We have started to do the alumni spotlight about this journey where we're highlighting those alumni who come back to the district and teach and work where they attend the school. I think there's so much to be said about those who return, and I have a special affinity in my heart for that work, having been a product of Buffalo Public School Systems and then being able to lead schools and then having a district position in the same school district where I sat as a 4-year-old. And many of those classes, right? So I think that's important to spotlight those individuals. We reinstituted the superintendent's student advisory council. Right now, what the students are doing is working on their AI policy and trying to help shape and inform what that looks like, because it does directly impact them as well as their instruction and their education. But they're also looking at our internet-enabled policies. And now what they're doing is helping to provide feedback around the procedures and what that looks like for their cell phones, internet-enabled devices, as well as informing some of the guidance that will serve and support our code of character conduct. We are in the process of finalizing our Greenburgh Teacher Federation contract with our teachers union. We are reestablishing those community partnerships with such agencies or organizations like the Rotary, as well as the Westchester chapter of Leeds. And we have also launched this year our Soaring Together, which is my monthly newsletter designed to really engage the community, but also inform about all the wonderful things that are happening here in our district. Finally, the last couple of things is really strengthening the superintendent and board relationships, and then focusing on the portrait of a graduate. And you'll hear more about that in Dr. Njoku's presentation. That's a lot in 120 days. I hope I didn't bore you with that. So all of this is really designed to focus our organization from going from so much effort to impact, and then how to have a greater impact on our students, our faculty and staff, and our families at the same time. So at this time, you will now hear from
One second.
Dr. Ogechi Njoku. She is our assistant superintendent for curriculum, teaching, learning, all things wonderful that drive our students' success.
We can talk on quality issues going on, so just give me 1 minute, okay? Okay. Give me like 5 minutes to fix it.
What? We have another visitor here that I want to acknowledge. We have New York State Assembly member Mary Jane Shimsky, who just walked in the building. Thank you. You just advance the button.
What? Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, so Thank you. All right, so we can go to the next slide. All right. Curriculum instruction is, so basically the Office of Curriculum Instruction oversees all teaching and learning pre-K to 12 across the district. We are an IB district, so the framework we use, we adhere clearly to New York State standards, but we work with an IB framework, of IB mindset, to support curriculum instruction and assessments. So there's a triangle there. So there's a triangulation of what is written, taught, and tested. That's the curriculum, instruction, and assessment. So we ensure that the curriculum is aligned to New York State standards with, as we said, with that IB framework. That curriculum drives what we teach, what is taught. That instruction is then assessed, and that assessment then goes back and informs the instruction to refine what we're doing, as well as informing the curriculum as well. I'm trying to go slow. Can you move to the next slide? Sure. All right, so it's not just one person that does the work. We have a team, a mighty team, a growing team, and you can't really see it, but we have some new members. We have Ms. Audrey Cabell, who's our Director of Special Education and People Personnel Services. Alongside her, we have our CSE Chair, Ms. Heather Day. We also have a Director of Global Learning responsible for IB, ensuring that we're faithful to that, as well as our English Language Learner Services and World Language, that's Dr. Nadeem Faruqi. And then we have our Director of Physical Education, Mr. McCoy. And then those are our directors, admin. But then unique to Greenburgh, we have district-wide supports through expert teachers. So one of our teachers is Ms. Lori Deandra, and she serves as a literacy instructional coach. And we are district-wide. So working with all of the teachers within the classroom, supporting the literacy instruction, ensuring that we are focused on the science of reading, all of that good stuff that happens that produces the results you'll see in a minute. And then we are currently in search of a math instructional coach that can match the work that Ms. Deandra does. In addition, we have, I support also funded programs, and we have a wonderful administrative assistant who really truly supports our grant and monitoring and managing our grant programs, which support like title funding for intervention services, our AIS teachers, our after school programming, things like that. If you can go to the next. So we just heard about SOAR, and you can see in parentheses, SOAR is there. The goals that we set, very intentional. Dr. Chisholm wants to ensure that everything is in alignment. So for goals for this year, for my Office of Curriculum Instruction with the team, is that we are focusing on high quality learning for every student. So what does that mean? Ensuring coherence, ensuring that things make sense and that they're aligned, that they're connected. If you remember that triangulation of what's written, taught, and tested across all classrooms for every student. So that means we want to make sure we understand the core, and then from that core, make the necessary accommodations for our students with special needs or English language learners. Then strong systems that support schools, clear written procedures, prioritizing professional learning, promoting shared ownership. So ensuring that those voices that are doing the work, that are receiving the work, are part of it. Next slide. All right, so here's some first half highlights. There are a lot. We have a strong team and we're doing a lot of work. We have a lot of energy this year. So just some of the things we've done this far. We've done a crosswalk of the IB profile with the portrait of a graduate. So the portrait of a graduate is what the expectation is of high school graduates that New York State has adopted. And then the fantastic thing is through our core values here at Greenburgh, we adopted IB as a framework, and that is the pathway. So from pre-K to 12, it's leading us towards that portrait of a graduate, and we have a crosswalk the alignment there. Right? And we're going to be talking more about that with our staff, making sure everyone there's shared understanding around that. We've drafted pre-K 12 expectations. We have, through our global learning department, We have identified what does success look like for our IB primary years? What does it look like for our middle years? What does it look like for our DP? So we've drafted that so that we can communicate. We know where we're going, right? And then we know when we've exceeded it. We've conducted learning walks. Our focus this year, instructional focus, is productive student discourse. In this time of AI. In this time of that, it's, how do we ensure that students are demonstrating their learning through student discourse, through talking, through written discourse, through spoken discourse, and ensuring that it's productive, that it's aligned to the expectation of that lesson. There's many other things we've done. We are introduced a standards-based report card that's going to be coming up to be implemented next year. During the superintendent's conference days, we did at-a-glance documents just to ensure that there's that alignment, that protected time. Teachers, if you went online, you saw pictures of them really just with each other, and we visited some classrooms, seeing them, ensuring that there is alignment there. And then our secondary level midterms. I know the kids are so excited about that because that's next week. But making sure that there's common assessments to assess the work and the learning that's happening. We're going to have a 5-year curriculum review, and I know many of you who come to the Education Committee are excited about this. There's going to be a 5-year map, what content areas we'll be focusing on to do that reviewing of curriculum so that we can, budget appropriately. Some really cool things. Seals, not the animals. The seal and the diploma. So New York State has seals, and we are approved for 2. Which is the seal of biliteracy and the seal of civic readiness. We're in year 4 for our seal of biliteracy. And this year we have 33 students eligible to receive it. Last year, that's an increase of 8 students from last year that actually received it. So we're in good space, we're just growing. So that's students building their multilingual. I think we had someone who had tried last year, 3 languages. Amazing. We also have seal of civic readiness. 75 students eligible. And I have to give kudos to the building leadership and the social studies teachers for putting forth a proposal of ensuring that our students are getting that the curriculum necessary to be eligible. 75 students. So that's an increase of 65 students from last year, right? So that's what we're looking for. And then there's some just measurable gains. I just highlighted the gains, the things we're proud of. So there's increases in ELA proficiency, Regents, Algebra 1, US History and Government, our English language learners. So I won't go too deep, I try not to. But our English language learners, every learner has a benchmark, their own expectation for themselves to learn, to move. And we have an increase in both the elementary and high school. But I just wanted to note the high school because it's 10 percentage points increase. 68% of our students met their goal. And for both elementary and middle school, we met the state benchmark. We exceeded it, right? And then in terms of IB diploma candidates, we've increased, and as well as those who have the diploma itself. Next slide. Does the clicker work now?
1 second. Clicker should work now.
Okay. Perfect. So in terms of operational excellence, attracting and retaining top talent, and responsive relationships, generally operational, one thing I wanted to highlight is that we're looking at the code of conduct to revive it. But again, making sure the voices are there. So as I say these things, it's not something that happens overnight. It takes time, it takes conversation, small focus groups, etc. Then with attracting and retaining top talent, what we have done is had monthly meetings. Each department is ensuring that they're meeting with their specialized departments. So they create a team, a community, conversation. And then responsive relationships. We've expanded our parent universities. We will continue to do more, but we did put out a survey and listen to our families, wanted really to engage virtually to make sure that they were involved. So we expanded because of that. Next steps, implement the K-12, K-6 standards-based report card. Next year, there's a requirement for New York State, personal finance requirements. It's really 5 to 12, but we're focused, the grade band, we're gonna be focusing on 7 to 12. Implementation of that for 26, 27. Operational excellence, we're going to be continue to provide feedback on policies that are associated with the work we're doing. So if we're looking at standards-based report cards, we want to take a look at the grading policy. So just making sure that we're in alignment. Attracting and retaining top talent. Give people what they ask for, because most of our teachers, they want to learn. So giving them time to learn from each other and learn from experts as well. And then responsive relationships, engaging our families in these initiatives, code of conduct, etc. And now I'm going to turn it over. Thank you very much. I'll turn it over to Ms. Shawn Romero, our assistant superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Shawn Romero, your Assistant Superintendent for Business. I'm pleased to be here tonight to update you on the operational health and significant infrastructure progress we've made across our district. To start out, I'd like to talk about my team. Behind every project I am about to mention is a dedicated team. While I am the one speaking tonight, I want to specifically recognize 4 directors who lead our operational pillars. Their leadership is the backbone of our success. Our Director of Technology, Ms. Kelly Verdina, is modernizing our digital infrastructure. Our Director of Facilities, Mr. Dennis Puglisi, is overseeing a historic level of physical plant upgrades. Our Director of Transportation, Mr. Frank Gunn, assures our students arrive safely every day. Our Director of Food Service, Mr. Pat Patelli, is transforming our student dining experience. I also want to thank my business office staff. They handle the vital gears of the district: accounting, payroll, benefits, and purchasing, allowing for our educators to focus entirely on teaching. Our office is currently driven by 3 main goals. First, we are conducting an organizational structure review to optimize how we support our schools. Second, we have a firm commitment to transparency in all of our financial reporting. And finally, we are ensuring every operational decision is in strict alignment with the district's strategic vision. The first half of this year has been incredibly productive, with several major projects now 100% complete. On the facilities side, we have completed the athletic turf field, which remains closed at this time until the track is completed later this spring. We also completed the tennis courts and the early childhood programs kitchen remodel. At the Woodlands Middle High School, we successfully finished the roofing project and the security vestibule. Regarding technology, our director has overseen the replacement of all network switches district-wide, which has significantly increased our bandwidth and reliability in every building. When it comes to safety, we have fully revised our emergency response plans to include the new cardiac emergency response plan, ensuring we meet the highest security standards and comply with SED requirements. Our work is also strengthened by community partnerships. I am proud that the Hartsdale-Greenburgh Rotary is now sponsoring a Student of the Month program, and will also be donating AED automated external defibrillators to the district this coming spring. Finally, a special shout out to the town of Greenburgh. They have been absolutely instrumental in the progress of our water main project. I'd also like to recognize the Hartsdale Fire Department, who has willingly, graciously, I should say, offered to volunteer their time to train our staff in first aid, CPR, and AED use. Looking ahead to the spring and summer, our momentum continues. We are moving toward the completion of the water main project and our energy performance project. This summer will also mark a major milestone as we begin phase 1 of the Science Lab project, with phase 2 scheduled for the summer of 2027. Additionally, we will begin roof renovations at Highview and LF Jackson in late spring, early summer. From a fiscal standpoint, I will be hard at work building the 2026-2027 budget. Our priority is to build a budget that is fiscally responsible, protecting our vital student programs while remaining deeply mindful of the impact on our taxpayers. In closing, I would like to thank you to our Board of Education, superintendent, administrators, staff, and our school community for making this progress possible. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Kevin Hanratty, Executive Director of HR.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here. Again, my name is Kevin Hanratty. I was hired on October 21st, 2025. I've been here almost 3 months. It has been a lot of work that has been done. I am an office of one, so I can boast that my entire office is present for today's meeting. In terms of human resources, the goal of the Human Resource Department is to recruit, support, and maintain a highly qualified and diverse workforce committed to fostering a positive, inclusive, high-performing educational environment. Our mission is to promote excellence in education through outstanding service, equitable and ethical practices, and a steadfast commitment to ensuring every employee is valued, supported, and empowered to contribute to the success of our students, school, and our community. As mentioned, I've been here a short time, but there have been some highlights in my first 3 months here. One of the first things done was conducted a review of our Envision system. Envision is the database that's utilized by the district to maintain records on all employees, as well as used in conjunction with the business office to maintain payroll records and issue payroll. It's very important to ensure that all of our record keeping is up to date. And so one of the first things I did do was do a deep dive into our systems, ensure that all of our rosters were accurate. And this will also help in targeting our vacancies to make sure that we are staffing individual schools and meeting all of our staffing ratios. In operational success, we also did a review of the district policies and also assisted in drafting some new policies that are essential to the district to ensure that we have safe environments, not only for our students, but also for our staff. I also continue to look over the tenure for all of our educators who have dedicated their time and their careers to educating our students. They should be honored, and we want to make sure that we have proper tracking of their tenure track and then can honor them accordingly. In terms of attraction of top talent, we have identified many different recruitment fairs that are coming up. This is the busiest time of my season, as it is time to start recruiting for our next school year. We have identified so far 9 different recruitment events that we'll be attending, and that will go down into New York City and go as far north into Buffalo. Expanding research into recruitment strategies to broaden our outreach and attract highly qualified candidates. And in regards to responsive relationships, want to provide transparent and timely responses to all employees as well as the community that may reach out to HR to find out what we're doing here and make sure that they are aware of what are the hard work that we're doing. And then establishing outreach efforts with local colleges and universities. This is going to be very essential to our recruitment. So I have reached out to all of our local colleges, one of which is my alma mater, Iona University. And we do have recruitment efforts that we're going to be doing, as well as direct partnerships, so we can target those individuals and get those students as they're graduating before they reach the open job market. Next steps, again, in our recruitment, we are now going to be pounding the pavement, not only attending, but also recruitment events, but also doing them virtually. We are also planning to host different types of recruitment fairs here. This is where we can attract talent into our schools and show them exactly where they would be working and the things that we have going on here. Ongoing review and refinement of our district policies. That is something that's an ongoing process. There's always different legislation that comes out. We have to make sure that we are up to date with all of the federal and state mandates that come up for employment purposes. Collaborate with businesses to add to employee benefits. One of which was a great idea from Dr. Chisholm was to create outreach to gyms. This way we assist with our health wellness policy, and this way we can have different types of things. So there's benefits aside from the salary and the enjoyment of working with our students. There's ways in which to enhance the environment for our employees to retain them. Improve the onboarding experience to make it a little bit more cordial, invite them in, and then give them not only just the here's your papers, let's get to work, but also welcome them in, find out some of their interests, and find out ways we can cultivate and begin our Grow Your Own program, which Dr. Chisholm will also touch upon later. And prioritize staff wellness to improve our culture and climate here. Again, we want to make sure that we retain our staff and they see just how great this community is. And next, I will bring up Dr. Chisholm.
Thank you. So I always like the question, so what, now what, right? So these are things that we've identified, these are the things that we've done, but what are the next steps? Closing that loop. And so that so what, now what is really around what are our second half priorities, not just for this spring and the summer, but even beyond. So some of these may be long-term events that will take place. So really, again, doing a deep dive, doing a curriculum audit, and then really solidifying that 5-year curriculum review plan. And then the implementation of it. So not just creating it, but making sure that that time is scheduled, allocated, and so that we can now move forward with building strong curriculum that our students can see themselves in and be really challenged by. We want to deepen our instructional program design, really looking at, and you'll see this in a minute, so this will be the first unveiling, of how we crosswalk the IB learner profile to the state's portrait of a graduate and what that means. And what that means for Greenburgh and our Greenburgh students specifically. A strategic plan, we know our strategic plan expires in 2027. So in my mind, I'm already thinking about what does it look like for this upcoming school year so that we have a strategic plan ready to build on the successes and really taking a look at that strategic plan to figure out if there are things that we need to adapt, or abandon as we move forward. And then also with that, not just our strategic plan, but also developing our fiscal plan and what that looks like over a 3 to 5 year trajectory for the district. Attracting and retaining top talent. I know Mr. Handready talked about, mentioned the grow your own, but in my mind, I see so much talent in this district. What do we have a teacher assistant who's interested in becoming a teacher? How do we support them in that endeavor? What if we have a teacher who's interested in building leadership? How do we support them in that endeavor? And how do we tap our own internal resources to create our own leadership academy here within the district in terms of supporting our faculty and staff that may want to remain in the district and see opportunities here with us? That's a part of not just attracting, but also retaining. And then also, this is the big one, we talked about it in the listening sessions, but how do we really establish an alumni network? And really that Falcons journey was just a taste of it, but what we really need are for alumni who not just want to come back and mentor, but how do we create an association where there's a lot of pride built around the Alumni Association? Thinking about a sports hall of fame, notable, there's so much here in Greenburgh. That's one of the things that attracted me to this district. And so I want to make sure that we build on that and we acknowledge that and we celebrate that at the same time. So those are some of those second half and beyond priorities. So here's the unveiling. So you saw a small depiction of this when Dr. Njoku talked about some of the successes around the teaching and learning aspect of what's taking place. The first picture is the IB learner profile. And then what is that roadmap that now takes us to that far right of what our graduates should look like? And so these are our core beliefs here in this district around advocating for academic excellence for all, believing in nurturing students' intellects, emotional, creative, social, and physical development, believing that students will achieve, not can, but will, achieve their full potential through collective efforts, and believing in sustaining an environment that fosters open communication, honesty, respect, and I'm gonna add transparency on that. So this is how we looked at taking the state's portrait of a graduate and have crosswalked it visually with our IB learner profile. It might be hard to see on the screen. But what we put in the center is that portrait of a graduate, and surrounded in the green are the IB learner profiles here in Greenburgh. Now, at the very center, the state puts the tree that symbolizes the culture, responsive, and sustaining education. We put a second model there that has the Greenburgh emblem at the center. What we'd like to do is put this out to students to get their feedback on which one they feel will best represent Greenburgh Central School Districts in terms of our crosswalking of the New York State Portrait of a Graduate with the Ivy Learner Profile. I wish we could blow this up a little bit more so you can see it. But what we'll do is, we'll try to put it on our website so you can see the thought and the process behind it. At this time, that does conclude our presentation to the community. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. I know there will probably be questions. We can also take questions during the reception too, but I also want to put this QR code here. So if people want to submit comments or questions as well, that this is an opportunity to collect those, memorialize those questions, and there will be a Q&A document that will be found under the superintendent's webpage where everybody can then see and have access to the questions and their responses as well. So thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. Did anyone have like a couple of questions that we can answer, or we can also answer them out in the hallway too? We'll be here for a little bit.
I'm gonna get.
Okay, thank you.
I do not have. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you have activities after this this great activity here this evening. I noticed and observed, and I really, truly thank everyone that spoke, that has given directions to our superintendent, and of course, her staff. We as a community, a diverse community, we look forward for the implementation of what was expressed here tonight. We are diverse. We have an ethnic community. We have a community that has a town. You may be seated if you want. I wouldn't be long, but you may be seated. Yeah, we do have a diverse community. We have a town that made up of several villages, which you count us on dog. However, as I said, I would certainly like to see the implementation of what was expressed here tonight. The rules and objectives that are given to our new superintendent, I know will be implemented. So having said that, very long but short, bid you all farewell, and I also would like to raise my hat to this new superintendent because you have our guidance. Thank you. Huh?
Hey, may I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please?
Yes.
I'm Mary Jane Shipsky, I'm the state assemblywoman for the Greenburgh Central School District. I am so happy to see how much enthusiasm and how much desire to really walk through the nuts and bolts of what makes a school district successful with our community. You're all to be saluted for that. In the meantime, we've got to talk about, you have a lot of decisions you're going to have to make. I'm sure the leader will talk. Have you spoken already? Okay. I'm sure that she does have good news for you in terms of being able to keep you whole financially this year. Maybe. Next year, I think it's very hard to make any promises. And one of the things I would like to talk about with the appropriate members of the community is how we can help you be more cost effective in your operations and in so many of the things you have to do as a type of local government. So you're not wasting money meeting certain requirements, or the one thing I talk to people about all the time is the bidding threshold for local governments. How you used to have to go out and get bids for $20,000 in the 90s, and you still have to go out for bids for $20,000, even though that's an awful lot more things because prices have gone up so much. There are dozens and dozens of things like that through our state laws. At this point, I am kind of collecting all of these to figure out what I may be able to sell to my program and council and to my leadership to start making things a little easier for you to keep a rein on expenses. And because at this point, the cheaper just running things is, the more you can spend on the children. And I'm not promising miracles, obviously, but you gotta start somewhere, and I really do want to start on this. So let's, I'd love to hear from folks on that. And anything that you need in terms of capital investment, programming, anything, please let us know. Once again, we cannot promise miracles, but anything we can do to help you succeed, we really want to do. So just keep the lines of communication open with my office, with the leader's office, and each of us individually, jointly and separately, will do what we can to help you make sure all your students succeed. So thank you very much.
Good evening, Happy New Year. And everybody was leaving and then we weren't. I'm all for, leaving but not really going away. I am really pleased, Dr. Chisholm, that you brought us together to begin, to make sure that we're collaborative, that we're paying attention. And communication is really the key. And the fact that there's such an emphasis on the communication and the respect for all the different departments, for the board, and all of the various committees, I think that we certainly have a formula for success. And we already know that Greenburgh is a great school district. So we try and do what we can to be helpful. So much of it was just trying to make sure that the money that was owed was gotten back to you, and 100% you got it. Now there's always more, and we were always asking you to do more. We took the cell phones out of the kids' hands. I know you don't. I know. And certainly with free school meals, it also puts. So we understand that this is not an investment of anything short of not only our present but our future, and that education is the key. So anytime we can be of help, we will. I don't need to tell you that we're in a very strange period in our lives, and that's why education is going to be even more important, because people have to understand where we are, where we've been, and together we will get to the right place. And certainly you have partners on the state level, the local level, and it's always, I know you were talking about the track, and, you know, we were very instrumental in terms of that, and it's always easier for us to do capital kinds of things. So as you're looking in your, you know, list of what you can, you know, go back to Mary Jane with in terms of things that are in your way, look at us for capital as well, and we'll see what we can do to help the facilities.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Thank you. Take a picture with you.
Yes. Okay. Good evening again. I'm James Bell. I'm the president of the Greenburgh Teachers Federation in this district. It's been a productive 120 days, and on behalf of the Greenburgh Teachers Federation, again, I want to reiterate welcome to the district, and I want to publicly again confirm our commitment to working with you to move our district forward. So that's SOAR. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no picture, did it now?
Perfect. Yeah, correct. Perfect. Thank you. Good luck. Yeah.
Thank you.